Hello and welcome to the tutorial video for the any percent no major skips category of Quest for Glory 5 Dragonfire. There is a companion written guide to this video. You can find that in the description below. In this route, we're going to take things relatively slowly. This tutorial is going to cover a safer, slower route through the game that does include a handful of tricks and glitches that will be found in the optimal route. But this is meant for a first-time runner who wants a gentle introduction into the category. So there are going to be a handful of glitches that you'll be taking advantage of here. And I will go over those when we get to them. When you make your character, you're going to want to start as a wizard. Wizard has access to the spells that allow you to beat the game the fastest. We're going to put 100 points into swimming because we need swimming at some point in the game, and this means we don't have to go out of our way to learn it. The rest of your 50 points, if you're going the optimal route, you'll want to put it into strength for the Hydra boss fight. You could also put it into vitality for a little safety in terms of health, or magic to give yourself a bit more mana to work with. I'm just going to put it into vitality. Alright, so we go ahead and hit play. We're going to skip through Erasmus's dialogue, and we're going to jump straight into danger. So leave the room of the encounter. As soon as you get to the world map, we're going to create a save, and we just want this save that's located out here on the world map because we want to be able to have access to triggering a random encounter whenever we want to. This is going to be used to execute a wrong warp glitch later on in the game. The wrong warp glitch is really important. It is a huge part of what makes the category as fast as it is. We're only going to be using it a handful of times in this safer route. But for now, we need to buy a couple things before we enter the Rites of Rulership. So we're going to run over here into Chakra's shop. Chakra is the owner of the magic shop. And we're going to enter this spot over here. That's going to cause Chakra to appear. And again, as usual, hold down spacebar to skip through dialogue that's coming. Click on Chakra, talk. You can just hit escape now. You don't have to say anything. We're going to save. Don't overwrite your previous save. Create a new save over here, then immediately load it. That's going to cycle his conversation, which we can then use to teach Chakra 2 spells. We're going to teach those 2 spells, which gives us a little more drachmas, and then we can buy the Mystic Magnets, which we're going to use to teleport later. We're going to have exactly 1,000 drachmas left, and that's enough to enter the Rites of Rulership. We still need to stop by the inn later in order to deposit the Mystic Magnets into our inn chest, but we're not going to do that just yet, because we're going to use the wrong warp glitch instead to get around. So enter the bank, make a transaction, enter the Rites of Rulership, and then we're going to go ahead and start the first rite, the Rite of Freedom, where we need to free one of the 5 fishing villages. And we're also going to grab a couple things that we'll need for the later rites. Again, remember, generally speaking, if there's a cutscene that's coming up, make sure you're holding down spacebar so you're skipping through dialogue. And then we're going to do the wrong warp. So, in order to do the wrong warp, what you'll need to do is save your game, and then load that save that you had out on the world map. Open up your character screen. You're going to rest twice. When you click sleep the second time, it's going to immediately close. Press escape to open the menu. Right now an encounter is about to trigger, but before that happens, we're going to reload our first save. And here you can see the dialog box pops up to indicate that you're about to get brought into a random encounter. Basically what we did is we transferred that encounter from the save onto the world map into our current save, and it's going to yoink us out of our current location and drop us out on the world map. So it's going to take us into the encounter, we leave the room, and now we're on the world map. This location right here, you want to make sure that this is where you showed up. If you showed up somewhere else, it means that you didn't do a fresh launch of the game at the very start of the run. I can't go into the glitch right now, but basically if you didn't show up here, your run is not valid. And so you'll need to quit out of the game, launch the game again, and then try again. But assuming you did show up here, we're going to need to go south. So this village right here is just conveniently on the way. That's the one we're going to be rescuing first. While you're running in, we can open up our spells menu and set up a few spells we need. We want the calm spell, and we want the open spell. And we may as well go ahead and put levitate there as well. Oops. The room that we're looking for is all the way in the back. Go ahead and click on the door, and then you want to knock on the door. hold down the key where the common spell is, and that'll cause the common spell to happen immediately, and then just click open on the chest, take all, and then that's it. You've successfully saved the fishing village. We're going to stop by one more location before we head back to town to drop off the magnets in our inn chest. We need to stop by this dragon pillar here. Grab the wax that's on the ground. If you want to, you can cast Calm in order to prevent the goons from attacking you, but usually you can just get away before they get a chance. We walk in the inn, immediately leave. Again, hold spacebar in order to skip dialogue. That will cause the innkeeper to give you the key to your room, which we will need to get inside of our room. Just click on the door, unlock the door. And now we're going to put one of our 2 mystic magnets into this chest. With that safely in our chest, now we're going to wrong warp again. So again, save our game, load the save that's on the world map, sleep twice. When the menu closes, load your first save. You'll get the dialog box to confirm that you're out on the world map, and then leave, and you'll be back at that location over here, and now we're going to head north. It is likely that you will hit at least one random encounter along the way here. That's fine. If you get a random encounter, you can just run out and escape. Here we need to pick up the Pegasus feathers, and for that we need to get to the top of this kind of pillar here. It's a little tricky transitioning to the next area. You can switch to tank controls to keep running forward. Then once you do the screen transition, you can go back to clicking. I have a separate video also linked in the description, just generally how to control this game. It's clunky and it's awkward. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to control your character, except for a few specific cases where I think it's important to pay attention to that. Where you want to stand is about right here, and then you can cast the levitate spell in order to climb up. If you're not standing next to the point where you'll be levitating from, you have to wait for your hero to walk all the way to that location before he casts the levitate spell. Click up there where the feathers are, so your character runs over to the tree, then click here on those feathers on the chest, or on the roots, and then you'll grab the feathers. And then you can Mystic Magnet back here. Now that we're back in our inn room, we need it to be, it's almost nighttime, and we have to do some shopping before we complete the rite. So we're going to sleep. Don't sleep on the bed, that's slow. You can just sleep from the menu instead. We're going to sleep 1 time, and based on what time it is, you're probably going to want to rest 1 hour at a time after that, because we want it to be morning, but we don't want it to be too late in the morning. So sleep here until it's after 6:30, because that's when all the shops open the following morning. But yeah, if it's the middle of the night, then none of the shops will be open. If that happens, if you forget to rest, you could pull up the menu and just rest 1 hour at a time. You can't sleep when it's outside. That's probably the fastest way to get... Again, you want it to be at least 6:30 before you proceed to the next screen. So we're going to talk to Wolfie over here. We're going to purchase 2 amphora. Thank you. And then we're going to buy this painting here. Just click on the sigil, click on the guard to turn it in, and hold down spacebar to skip the dialogue for the next cutscene. The second rite is the Rite of Conquest. For that, we're going to need to get to the Isle of Sifnos. But a couple things we're going to buy along the way. This bit here is optional, but it is recommended if this is your first time running this game. We are going to buy some extra mana pills for safety. So let's talk to Chakra. Purchase, buy 5. You don't have a ton of money, so you don't want to spend too much of it. 5 mana pills I think is okay for safety. You might need to use one on Sifnos, hopefully not. You might need to use it near the end of the game. So if you don't buy the mana pills, you can skip that visit to Chakra's shop entirely. Talk to Celine here. This is the apothecary. Again, you're probably going to want to buy about 10 healing pills for safety. Those I think are more important than the mana pills. But definitely buy 1 poison cure pill. That is going to be a time saver later on in the run. But I do recommend new runners buy 10 healing pills, 5 mana pills. This is where the time is important. If it is past noon, then Andre, the guy at the docks, is not going to be there. If that happens, kind of what you have to do if it's past noon is open up the menu and just rest 1 hour at a time until it's at least 7 a.m. the next day. Then you can, I believe you should be able to save and load the game, and that'll reset the screen and allow you to talk to Andre if he's not here. So we're about to rent the boat from Andre in order to get to Sipnos Island, but before that, we also need to get some anchovies for him. This is for another puzzle later on in the game. So we're going to click talk, and then done. We're not going to say anything to him. This is like Chakra, where we're going to save the game, and then load it to cycle his conversation. Talk again. He still does not have what we want. This is going to take the third conversation before he has what we need. So we're going to ask about fishing, ask about small fish, ask about anchovies. And then he'll give you the anchovies. And then you can rent the boat. Those 50 drachmas are the reason why we can't afford to spend too much money on healing and mana pills. So if you don't have 50 drachmas, even then, like, you need closer to 110 drachmas because of one more purchase we need to make during the next rite. But sail around the peninsula there, sail over to Sipnos right here, and now we're on Sipnos. As soon as you start moving, the alarm is going to sound. Don't worry, this area is fairly safe. But there's a lot of action you're going to have to do with, on this fortress. So open up the spells menu. The spells you're going to need, you'll need the trigger spell, that's this one over here. You're going to need the frostbite spell, most powerful spell in the game. And then that should do it. You might want the mana pills just handy right here. You're probably fine on healing pills, but you can get those ready just in case as well. So just click over here, and your character will automatically run toward the fortress. Apologies for the vuvuzelas, they are a bit loud. If you want to, you can cast the calm spell to keep the guards stationary. It's not required, you can usually path around them, but sometimes it takes a bit of a long way around there. Otherwise, your hero will just run on into the fortress, and you'll have another moment before the guards inside are alerted. This is a good place to make a safety save, because this is also, early on, this is an easy place to screw up. So you're going to click once on the right mercenary, then as soon as that mercenary dies, you're going to click once on the other mercenary. That's going to stack 2 frostbites on the second mercenary and kill them quicker without spending too much of your mana. So it looks like this. Click once here. As soon as he dies, watch the health bar, click on the other one, and then the other one dies pretty quickly. Run over to the left, click on this mercenary once, wait a second, then click on him again. And that should kill that mercenary pretty quick. If you need to, you can load your save and practice that a couple times. So click once here, click once there, right-click to cancel the frostbite, move forward, 1, 2. The second frostbite doesn't just stack into the frostbite, it also makes it so that it redirects your hero so that you're facing the mercenary again. We have to kill 3 mercenaries to make the centaur wizard appear. Click on this stack of spears here. You'll need that for the next rite. Click down here to transition to the next screen. Walk about over here. There's a centaur wizard, just cast trigger. That's an in-game joke why he dies. Then the general appears. Just use the rest of your mana on frostbite. That should be enough to kill him. You shouldn't have to use any mana pills. Use them if you have to, but you do want to practice Sipnos without using any mana pills. Just go ahead and click on him. You'll grab the general shield. Sometimes there's a weird glitch where you'll click on the general and you'll hear the jingle and a message that says that you loot the general's body, but you didn't actually. You need to see this dialogue to confirm that you actually grabbed the general's shield, or you won't be able to finish the rite. But assuming you've done that, you can now take the Mystic Magnets back to your room, open up the menu, sleep until morning, because we want it to be morning, and then click over here to grab the sheets. This is another item that we're going to need for one of the puzzles later on. And now we can step out of our room. So there are 2 items that we need to show Gnome Anne over here. She's the innkeeper. I know I'm not explaining that much about the lore. I apologize about that. So we need the painting that we bought from Wolfie earlier, and we need the sheet. We're going to show the painting to Anne. And then we're going to give her the sheets. And she's going to sew them into something that we can use to make a hot air balloon later. If you didn't sleep in your room, she probably won't be out in the lobby of the inn. She closes up shop at 11 p.m. And it's probably past 11 by the time you're done with Sipnos. So when you get to the screen, we'll want the general shield to turn in. We're also going to want to prepare the healing pills. The third rite begins with a cutscene. This is Rakesh, he's our friend, and unfortunate circumstances are about to befall him. But luckily we have the poison cure pills. You can let him die, but it's faster to rescue him. So just click the poison cure pills on him, The guard will come over and say, what's going on? Sometimes it is possible to skip that moment where the guard approaches you. It's a bit random whether or not it happens. But now we can start on the third rite. The Rite of Valor, we need to go slay a Hydra. In order to do that, we have to get to where the Hydra is. We're also going to buy something else that we need for another puzzle later on. So show this gentleman over here, the guy who's juggling the banana, show him the painting. And then we're going to buy two things. We're going to buy the artichoke pizza, and then we're going to buy the brazier. You can see we only have 90 drachmas left. So that's about how much flexibility you have in buying healing and mana pills. Is you need to have enough for that brazier and the pizza. If for whatever reason you are short on money and you don't want to restart, what you can do is you can run over to Pholus here, he's the blacksmith, talk to him, sell something, you can sell the axe. Selling the axe is going to give you plenty of money to do whatever, to buy whatever else you need. If you forgot to pick up the throwing spear from Sifnos, you can also buy it here. The throwing spear is over here, it's 25 drachmas, so you can buy that if you forgot the spear. But it's a bit faster to just grab the spear while you're on Sifnos. In order to get to the island where the Hydra is, we need to make some wings and fly there. We're going to be doing that at Science Academy, and that's all the way back here. So click on this lever over here, going to start the windmill, then click on this lever, use force on it, it'll break it, and then open up your inventory. We need that throwing spear, and insert the throwing spear in here, and then click on it again to pull it. And then you're going to wait for the gondola. So it's important to time pulling the lever again to stop the gondola. This might be a good time to make a safety save so you can practice the timing. As soon as you see the nose of the gondola appear there, that's when you want to click the lever, because if you wait too long... that's interesting. It is a really weird thing. If you pull it too early or too late... Okay. I'm learning how weird this is, because if you pull it too early, it stops later. Anyway, if you miss it, you won't be able to jump on it, and you'll have to wait for the gondola to do the entire loop again, which I think is about 40 seconds of a time loss. Once you're in the gondola, we need to hit the lever in order to make it go again. We can use the Force Bolt spell. That's this one here. Just click that right here. That stick is a hard to hit, but if you just click right here, you're going to be guaranteed to hit it. So, no problem. So just click on the console over there, and that will take the test. You can hold down the Enter key to go through these menus a little faster. The thing to keep in mind about the scientists at the Academy is that they think very highly of themselves. So these answers are always the same. You'll want to memorize them. You could also probably intuit what the answers actually are. So what's the purpose of science? Clearly it's to discover the true meaning of life, the universe, and everything. If you see all of the above, it is always the correct answer on the entrance exam. What does every scientist need? Obviously a diploma from the Academy. Or else you're not a real scientist, right? It's all of the above again for the fourth question. A little bit of a sci-fi nerd joke. And then, why is science essential? Well, without science, the world would be destroyed by ignorance and superstition. You can click to enter the Academy. Sometimes your hero will you click, and your hero will just pause at the entrance for several seconds. You can just tap the spacebar key. I don't know why it is, but there's just that moment where he'll just stand there, and if you tap the spacebar, it's like it skips the wait, and then he just immediately walks in. It's a little weird thing. So this scientist over here will not let us make the wings unless we give him his favorite kind of pizza first. Click on your artichoke choke pizza, click and drag the anchovies on top of it, and then make sure that you have the pizza over here. Now you can give it to the scientist. If you miss clicking the scientist, I'll show you. You'll throw the pizza on the ground, and then your run is dead. So don't do that. Make sure you don't miss clicking on the scientist. I have the feathers here. We'll also want the beeswax. So click the beeswax on the wings, click the feathers on the wings, right-click to clear your selection, click on the wings again, hold down spacebar to skip through this a little bit faster, and now you get to watch a little cutscene as we fly our way to Hydra Island. Now that we're on Hydra Island, we're going to open up our spells menu. We want the Flame Dart spell, and then in our inventory we want the Amphora. Make sure you have your healing pills at the ready for safety. This should be fairly safe, but it's also easy to die very quickly if something goes wrong. We're going to run over to the left. This is going to wake up the Hydra. As soon as you hear the music start, run away again. You don't want to get attacked by that acid spray. And in a moment, Elsa will appear. Say yes, tell about defeating Hydra. She will say that she will start damaging the Hydra, and we will burn the stumps off. While you're running down, click an amphora on the goo. We need that for solving another puzzle later. It's unlikely that Elsa will lop one of the heads off before you get down here, but it's possible. So you want to move through there a little quickly. Just stand here, make sure you're outside of the range of the acid spray, because it'll just rip through your health bar if you're not careful. One thing to keep in mind is that while somebody is talking, you can't really click on anything. So I'm going to show this to you. She's going to say burn it now. Come on, do it.
Burn it now.
Yeah, and so if you try clicking there while she's saying burn it now, clicking on the Hydra won't actually cast Flame Dart. It'll make you run toward the Hydra, which is terrible. You don't want to do that. So my recommendation is that when the Hydra's health gets low, hold down the spacebar so that you immediately skip through the dialogue when Elsa says burn it now. Otherwise, the acid spray is like our frostbite spell in that it does a lot more damage than I think the developers intended, because I don't think they expected you to be able to play the game at 60 frames per second. So this unfortunately takes forever, but again, this is safe, and the faster ways of slaying the Hydra are pretty tricky. So you'll want to wait until later before you learn those. Again, hopefully there will be a video uploaded to my channel at some point where I will show you faster strategies for slaying the Hydra. That's 2. And then just wait for the 3rd. When that 3rd Hydra stump gets chopped off, your hero will automatically run over here to the center. Don't worry, that's normal. Just make sure you burn the stump off before too much time has passed, or else the head will regrow. We can clear out 2 spaces in our inventory because we're now going to get the scales and the teeth of the Hydra. We don't care about the scales, we do care about the teeth. The teeth are what you need to complete the 3rd rite, but it's faster to let Elsa win. So we're going to give her the teeth. Run inside the cave, Elsa will be standing there, click to give her the teeth, and that will allow us to end the rite faster. Open up our spell menu, we want the trigger spell again. Run up to the chest, click trigger on the chest. Don't worry. Big scary boom, it won't hurt you. And then now you can open the chest. We only need the rope. If you grab too much stuff, it might overburden you and drain your stamina faster, so just grab the rope. And then magnet back to the room. So now that Elsa has won the rite, she has the Hydra teeth, she can go turn it in. The next time we rest in our in-room... oh, I forgot one thing. You probably will forget this too when you run the first time. But I was going to explain, we can rest in our bed anytime, and that will automatically end the 3rd rite. We're going to go complete a couple more rites right now, because it'll allow us to turn in multiple rites at the same time later on in the game. Because right now, we can go build the airship and have access to the entire world map, and that allows us to complete the 4th and 6th rites right now, before we finish the 3rd rite. But first, we gave the sheets to Gnome Anne, and now we need to get the sewn sheets back from her. So we need to sleep until it is morning. It needs to be at least, I believe, 6:30 before Gnome Anne will be there. It's a really big time loss if you forget to grab the sheets from her right now. So please don't forget. So to build the airship, we need to run all the way back to Science Academy. I would love to find a way to skip this run back. I don't know of one right now. While we're going there, we're going to prepare the 5 items we need to build the airship. We need the sheets that she just gave us. We need the rope. We need goo. We need the brazier. And we need the tinderbox, which is an item that you start the game with. So make sure you have all 5 of these items here, and then may as well get the Force Bolt spell prepared, because we need that because we're taking the gondola again. Alright, now we're back at Science Academy. Click on the bottom here to transition to the other side of the room, then click on the elevator. And there's another gondola we're going to be retrieving out of the water. So click on this console here. That will allow you to operate the crane. Crane extension set to 100. Crane rotation can be either 50 or 55. Claw position should be set to closed. And then click run. And then just apply these 5 items in order. The sheets, the rope, the goo, the brazier, and the tinderbox. And so like I said, we're now going to complete 2 rites, Rite 4 and Rite 6, early, before we complete the 3rd rite. The airship turns like a truck, so I do recommend using keyboard controls. You can just fly backwards without having to turn around. If you want, you can use the mouse as well. If you do, I do recommend turning your airship around, because otherwise you'll do a long turnaround in order to get to where you're going. So click down here, just below where the oracle is, click on the airship to exit, and then click up here to enter where the oracle is. Open your inventory, we need our drachmas, we need to make an offering, so click in the water to toss a drachma coin in, and hold spacebar to skip the cutscene. This is the proof of destiny that we'll be turning in. If you click on it directly, your hero will slow walk to it, so click next to it to run right up to it, and then you can click on the plate and pick it up more quickly. And now we need to head south. So that's the 4th rite. So now when we complete the Rite of Valor, we will immediately have the proof of destiny, which we can use to turn in and complete the 4th rite at the same time. Then we'll do the 5th rite, turn that item in, and then immediately have the 6th rite MacGuffin. That's the peace statue. We're going to get that right now. By doing all of this at once, we'll just be able to batch turning in rite MacGuffins at the same time. So go on the shore right here, click on the airship to leave, and then enter Atlantis. We are going to need the open spell. Don't overwrite the proof of destiny, because we want to make sure we still have that in our hotbar for when we go back to the Hall of Kings. We need the open spell. Make sure you still have the calm spell. And I believe that's it. For safety, you may also want the healing pills, because we don't know how to hold our breath for very long, so it's going to chomp through our health and stamina pretty quickly. So just be aware of that. So swim around this way. It is possible if you click too close to the left here, your hero will pass behind the pillar. That's very frustrating when it happens. So make sure you click all the way down here so you're in front. Click the open spell to open the gate. And then you're going to save the game, and then load the game. And then you can just immediately enter. There were some Triton guards that came out. You would have had to fight them or do something to be able to get past them to enter, but if you just save and load after opening the gate, then you can just pass through without worrying about it. Cast the calm spell now so you don't make these guards panic, and then you just hold the forward key to just swim all the way through. This is just a long corridor you need to swim down in order to be able to get to the Atlantis Queen. When you get to about this point, cast calm again. Prepare the open spell. When the screen transitions to the close-up, then you can cast the open spell on the door and it'll open it its way in. Hold down the spacebar to skip all of the Queen's dialogue. Just click on the Queen. When she says something, it stops your movement. And you can click on her again. Tell about the rights of rulership, and then tell about prophecy, and that will get the peace statue. Use the mystic magnet to teleport back to your room. Again, if your health, watch your health. If it gets too low, you will want to use some of your healing pills to recover. But from here, you just go to bed. I don't think it matters too much whether you sleep until morning or evening. But this will cause the 3rd rite, Rite of Valor, to be completed. But we already have the MacGuffins to complete the 4th and 6th rites. If you try to sleep in your bed, and for some reason it says you're too hungry to sleep, you can open your inventory, double-click on your food, and eat it, and that will cause you to become not hungry, and then you'll be able to sleep. I don't think it's likely to happen, but just in case it does, that's what you need to do if you want to be able to sleep in your bed. So now we're in the 4th rite, Rite of Destiny, and we already have the proof of destiny, so we just click on the guard and immediately turn it in. This saves an entire run back all the way from our in-room up to the Hall of Kings again, not having to do that, and we're going to be able to do that again in a little bit. But first, we move on to the 5th rite, the Rite of Courage. This requires us to enter Hades. So just take the Mystic Magnet back to your room, because we need to leave Silmaria, and this is a little bit faster than running all the way back down the hill. Head about west-northwest is about the direction you need to go, and that will take you to where the entrance of Hades is. Again, just like before, it is possible you'll hit a random encounter here. If it happens, just leave the random encounter. If you get lucky, great. You don't have to worry about it. This is the entrance to Hades, so open your inventory. We're going to need the amphora. We're going to use that to be able to do the ritual to get in, and also hold the Styx water we need to retrieve from Hades. You probably also want the healing pills for safety. I would also prepare the resistance spell. Make sure you don't move the spell on top of your peace statue. And then you'll also need the levitate spell. So click the amphora about here. If you click too far to the right, your hero will do this awkward bump up against the corpse, or it won't. Okay. If you click on the left side of the water over here, then your hero won't run as far. It'll just be a short walk over, dip in, and get the water. That's just a little micro-optimization. On the left side of the river, just click the water over here, and that will complete the ritual to open the entrance into Hades. When the gate opens, Cerberus is going to try to stop us, but we're going to moonwalk into Hades, and that prevents us from, that makes it so we don't have to deal with Cerberus. So pay attention to the darker spot on the ground over here. This blob over here at the bottom is about where you want to click. Use the keyboard to turn your character around so that your back is facing the entrance. And then you're just going to want to press backwards. Just keep holding it. And then when Cerberus comes out, you'll enter Hades. And this skips the entire interaction with him. I'm going to try to make something happen that's a little weird. If your aim is a bit off... Nope, come on. Okay, so what might happen here is that Cerberus will start talking. Hold down spacebar to skip through his dialogue, and then you can still press backwards, and you'll still be able to enter Hades. So that'll happen sometimes if you like bump up against the gate. Is you can just skip Cerberus's dialogue, and you were still able to clip through the entrance. You just need to skip through his dialogue to continue to be able to do it. So this is Hades. Hades is one of the more dangerous areas in the game, and also more annoying for pathing. It's really easy to accidentally click somewhere and then end up accidentally running backwards. So you'll learn to know and love Hades after you spend enough time in here. So we need to levitate down here. Look for this bump right here on the ground, and then you'll be casting the levitate spell to get down safely. Once you're on the bottom, you're going to want to cast the resistance spell. Because that undead that just went behind there, you can see that. See that spell? That is at least as powerful as our frostbite spell. It will rip through your health bar if you don't have resistance active. Even in my world record run, I turn on resistance for safety, because it doesn't take that much time. Running through this pathway, those skeletons will try to block your path, and that's very annoying. Just keep clicking your way through. Hades sucks, but thankfully, thanks to the wrong warp glitch, it is significantly faster than it ever used to be. So our goal here is to collect some Styx water. There's other stuff we could do here. We don't have to do it, so we're going to skip it. So you have to click near the bottom to navigate your way around this pond. The area that you can click on is very narrow, so be mindful of that. And then click the amphora here, and you will collect the Styx water. It won't enter your inventory immediately, so give it a few seconds. When you see the icon change, you'll know you have the Styx water. If you accidentally bought 3 amphora, the amphora will still stay there, and then the Styx water will enter your inventory. So that's why we only want to buy 2, because that'll replace your last amphora for the Styx water. It'll just automatically go on your hotbar. Once you have the Styx water, we're going to wrong warp. So save your game, load your earlier save, sleep twice, and then load this save again, transfer the encounter, and once you're in the encounter room, you can just take the magnet back to your room. The game normally does not allow you to exit Hades until you deal with the Guardian and free somebody's soul, and then you have to run all the way back out of Hades. It's terrible. It takes a long time, so we just grab the Styx water and wrong warp out, and it saves several minutes. So now we turn in the Styx water to complete the Rite of Courage. There's one dialog box you'll have to click through here. And now it's time for the Rite of Peace, which we've already done. So we can just immediately turn in the peace statue. Okay, welcome to the 7th and final rite, the Rite of Justice. We need to deal with the assassin that killed the previous king of Silmaria. So use the magnets to go back to your inn room. Fortunately for us, there's an encounter on the bridge where we could fight the assassin, but before the encounter, the assassin is just hiding behind this gate over here. So, just grab your frostbite spell, click about here. Just use all your mana. Just keep clicking. Wait for it. You hear that jingle? You know you killed the assassin. So now you can go back to your inn room. Sleep in your bed. Doesn't matter whether it's until morning or evening. Doesn't matter. Just sleep. The guards will automatically come and bring you to the Hall of Kings. So now we're going to confront the individual who hired the assassin. You can click on any of these options here. It doesn't matter. Once you're sent out, we're going to magnet back to our room. And again, doesn't matter, just pick one of the options. Going to sleep again, we'll be brought back to the Hall of Kings a second time. Most of these options will just proceed immediately. I usually do say the assassin confessed. It doesn't matter. I think some of them won't cause the dialogue to advance, but that's just the one that I pick. It's technically like a couple frames faster, but it does not matter. So he escaped, and now we're going to go chase him down. This is the end game. We need to go try to arrest Minos. He's the guy who hired the assassin, and then we need to slay the Dark Dragon, and then that will be the end of the game. So this is another good point to make a safety save. Hi, Renault from the future. I decided to retake this section because Minos is complicated, and I wanted to make sure I went through all the ways that this section can go wrong so that you know how to recover, and rather than ending with a dead run. So for this section in Minos, what you're going to need, you're going to want the Calm spell, the Open spell, the Trigger spell, and Frostbite. And you're going to want any mana and healing pills that you have left over. It is possible to go through this section without using any mana pills, but if you have them, then it gives you just a little bit more slack. The first thing is that this goon right here, for safety, you're probably going to want to kill. You should be able to do it off of a single Frostbite. And then we're going to run over to the left here. You might want to switch to using tank controls to navigate, otherwise you'll just be clicking on these rocks in the way, and that just screws up the hero's pathing. It's suboptimal. Once all the enemies here are on screen, you can cast the Calm spell, and then you can open the gate. The important thing to remember here is that the game does not let you cast Open on the gate unless there are no enemies aggroed on you. That's the reason why you might want to kill that first goon for safety. It might be too far away to be aggroing you, and then it might be fine, but it might still come over to attack you. And the reason for that is because the Calm spell only affects enemies that are visible on screen. So when you cast Calm here, it doesn't affect the goon that's all the way over near the entrance. So for safety, you might kill it, run over here, calm the enemies, and then you can open the gate, run in here, up the stairs, and then cast Open on the door. And that allows you to go inside. What might happen while you're doing that is, again, you'll cast Open. In fact, let me try to replicate that. So here I've taken too long, the enemies are trying to fight me, I try to click Open on the door, and it says I'm too busy dealing with combat. And I try to cast Calm, and it still says I'm too busy because those goons were off screen. They were not affected by the Calm spell, and so and while a Calm is active, you can't cast another one. So it's really easy for this section of the game to go terribly wrong. But hopefully none of that goes wrong for you. You're just able to enter Minos' mansion without issue. So yeah, practice that intro sequence a bunch to make sure that gets right. For you, there are going to be more enemies on screen when you walk here. There are fewer on my screen because it's hard to explain. I got here via a different glitch. But you're going to want to start by casting Calm so that the enemies are not aggroed on you, because again, there's a door that you're going to need to open, and you can't open the door while an enemy is trying to come over to attack you. So for you, when you see all of the enemies, there's going to be like an enemy over here as well, so make sure everybody's visible on screen, cast Calm. You might need to wait a couple seconds for your previous Calm to expire, and then you can open this door. Okay, this next room is really tricky. There are a lot of ways for things to go wrong. There are also a lot of different approaches that you can take. I tried to find a pretty consistent one that you can follow, and hopefully things will just go swimmingly for you. So open the door, hold spacebar to skip the intro dialogue, and get the trigger spell ready. Position it over here on the left. As soon as the screen transitions, click on that alcove. The explosion happens, switch to Open, cast Open on the alcove, click and drag one of these mana potions onto your hotbar so that you have easy access to it, and then click Take All to collect the rest. As soon as you click Take All, you're going to walk backwards, click one Frostbite, wait a second, and then one more Frostbite. And then you can click the rest of your mana on the Minotaur as it approaches you, and that should finish the Minotaur off. Now, the reason why you want to have your mouse ready to trigger the trap immediately is because if you take an extra second and you click on it while Elsa's trying to interrupt you, you're going to be turning away from the alcove, and that eats the action of casting trigger on the trap. And that's just going to completely screw up that room. So make sure that when you open the door, you have spacebar held to skip the dialogue, you have trigger ready, and as soon as the screen transition happens, that's when you click there. Now, if your mana's too low coming into this section, you might want to drink a mana potion before you proceed. So as soon as you click take all, go ahead, drink a mana potion, start backing up, frostbite, wait a second, frostbite again, and you can cast a couple frostbites at the Minotaur, and you don't need to walk forward. If the Minotaur walks too close, it might not take enough damage from the frostbite. Again, there are a lot of ways to do this room. Feel free to experiment if you want to find another way to do it. But that, I think, is a fairly consistent way of clearing the room in a fairly consistent manner without having to improvise. This is the unskippable Doom speech, so sit back, relax, let him do his talking. So after he jumps off, hold down spacebar, because you're going to be skipping a video that shows the Dark Dragon getting released. Then after that video plays, there are 3 things you have to do before the game lets you exit the room. The first one is that you have to loot the Minotaur's corpse. The second is you need to loot the alcove. We already did that. If for some reason you didn't do that, now is when you would trigger the trap and then open the alcove to collect everything. And the third is to collect Minos' corpse, but when you try to click on it, you're probably going to loot the goons that are sitting on top of the corpse. So just keep clicking until finally you get this dialogue, then you can search the body, and then take everything off of Minos' corpse. Okay, so this is the dragon fight. The dragon fight has 2 phases. Before we can damage the dragon at all, we need to restore this pillar that's tilted over here. So again, continue to hold spacebar to skip all this dialogue. And there are going to be your allies that are all going to get summoned here to help. There's Gort on the left and Toro on the right. We need to get both of them to help us restore this pillar. So click on Gort, ask him to help. Click on Toro, ask him to help. And again, make sure you're holding down spacebar, because while one of them is talking, you can't do anything, basically. So make sure you're skipping through the dialogue so you can click to do the next action. Then wait for Gort to pass your current location, because if you try to move, you'll interrupt his pathing and he'll take longer to get to the pillar. So wait until he's past you, then you can click on the pillar. And then all 3 of you will restore the pillar. You're probably low on mana, so if you have mana pills, you can use them. If you're out, you can use the mana potion here that you got from the alcove. You can recognize it because it has the little triangle eye symbol on it. So make sure you have that ready. Drink the mana potion, then approach here, and then just mash the frostbite spell on the dragon. That should tear through half of his health. Then drink another mana potion to restore your mana, and hold spacebar to skip the dialogue for this next bit. Oops, I did not mean to drink that. That's okay, this is going to be fine. Now we're going to get to Phase 2, and Phase 2 is a bit harder because we're going to be taking advantage of a glitch with the Frostbite spell. The Frostbite spell continues to do damage while we have this menu up, so even though the dragon will be paused, he'll be frozen in the air, the Frostbite spell will continue to do damage. Our objective is to stack as many Frostbite spells on top of the dragon while the pause menu is up. So once the screen transitions, you can just quickly make a safety save here, then press forward on the keyboard in order to run forward.
Let's destroy.
And about here, you want to click on the dragon a bunch of times and then hit escape. This takes a lot of practice to get right. If you did it right, you'll hear the jingle that says that you killed the dragon. If you didn't, you need to go chase him down. And that's a pain in the butt.
Let's destroy.
We'll skip to about here, click, 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 get all of our frostbites out there, and then press escape. And then that kills the dragon. One of the dangers from trying to do this is that if you miss clicking on the dragon, you might have this happen. You'll notice your frostbite gets redirected. It's probably not damaging the dragon anymore. So if that happens, you'll probably need to drink a mana potion and then go try to chase the dragon down. You can sort of do this and like make up for the fact that you missed the dragon the first time. One thing to be very careful when you're trying to do this is that if the dragon casts fire breath on you, and that is overlapping on top of you, it's the same thing as your Frostbite spell. It's going to continue to damage you while this menu is up. So there it looks like I was very close. So I can just do a little bit more to recover. Okay. So practice this a lot, because you don't want this to mess up your run right at the very end. Hold spacebar to skip the final video of the dragon being defeated. And now you have one more interaction necessary in order to complete Quest for Glory 5, no major skips. And that is to either accept or refuse the throne. It does not matter which one you choose. We usually accept, but if you want, you can refuse. Time stop happens once you've agreed or refused to become King of Samaria. And that is Quest for Glory 5. I hope to upload more videos to show more advanced tech, so you can learn other strategies for various things, especially the Hydra fight. But there are several other things that you can do to do several parts of the run faster, more wrong warps to teleport around everywhere faster. But this is, I think, a good first path through the game if this is your first time running it. So practice this. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy speedrunning.